Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a test. This is the real deal. And I don't want to panic you, but I want to make sure that you understand that there's a major hurricane that is in the Gulf of Mexico.
It was almost as if time stood still for our state and its people on August 29, 2005. Hurricane Katrina, one of the deadliest and most costly storms on record, made its frightening landfall. National news media littered the Gulf Coast, and a nation sat glued to their televisions, taking in every second of this devastating storm. At the same time, residents of the Gulf states made their preparations and hunkered down to ride out yet another hurricane. But what they witnessed as Katrina barreled through the coast was a storm like no other.
So we're prepared to respond as soon as Katrina makes her landing here in the state of Louisiana. We have emergency personnel. Our first responders are ready and trained and have all of their equipment ready to go to respond to any type of emergency. We have airboats. We're ready and we're to serve in any capacity we can. We have enforcement agents that have emergency vehicles. We have airboats. We're there for search, rescue, and recovery.
Hurricane Katrina brought with her devastation of catastrophic proportions. Debris-filled streets, flooded homes, lives and families displaced, billions of dollars in damage, towns turned to rubble, and thousands of lives lost. Uncertainty was all around.
Well, 14 days later, which is, man, that was being enough tape for the experience I had in 14 days of trying to get fuel and everything else, during that time. But actually coming across that bridge, the Kerner Bridge down here, I'm looking at my place, well, it's still standing, then noticing all the curtains coming through the windows, and kind of looked at the top of the roof like, didn't realize it was just paper. It's like, I knew when I seen that, it was gonna be a long day.
Uncertainty in the ability for the region to be able to bounce back from such a disaster. Uncertainty that our sportsman's paradise had been washed away.
We don't know where the salt water got to at this point in time. How far up did it get? Lake Pontchartrain's flooding areas that are typically freshwater could be a major impact, displacing fish for several years. So those are some of the major impacts that are going to happen to fishers.
I think we probably lost the deer herd at the Delta and Pass Elutra, which historically that was a herd that, if you remember in the 60s, we went down there with airboats and trapped deer, kind of had a big roundup. Plaquemines and St. Bernard Parish is from a deer's perspective, and rabbits, small game, that's probably a disaster there, and we will be looking at probably closing some seasons down there for this year.
What you're looking at is the remnants, the ruination of what has happened to some of these homes in Eden Isles. A lot of you know Eden Isles is the community with the waterways in the backyard and the driveways in the front. Very popular fishing area. This is going to be our starting point as we show you some of the destruction from Katrina on the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain.
We had some preliminary reports from some individuals about that whole system, that old Lake Maurepas system, the Meat River, Blind River. We had some field crews go out late last week and also did some overflights to try to get a visual look at just what those water masses were doing. Blind River, Meat River, Tickfaw River, all of the rivers that empty into Lake Maurepas seem to have extensive areas of deoxygenated water, which ultimately, unless we have some processes reoxygenate that water, it's going to flow into the Pontchartrain Basin. Also, some of the rivers on the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain, portions of the Pearl River system, Chafuncta River, also have similar type problems with this stagnant water.
That's a terrible sign. That tannic, root beer colored or tea colored water, that's real indicative of low dissolved oxygen and poor water quality. I'm willing to bet there's been a significant change in pH too, which I'll look at this next stop. But there's definitely significant dissolved oxygen problems here.
But it was the reaction of thousands of first responders who immediately put a plan into action to tirelessly work to rebuild what we had lost. It was the efforts of these individuals that would give us hope.
I'm from St. Bernard, down on the low end of the parish, and we've been involved in the search and rescue efforts for Hurricane Katrina since the first day. what we've been seeing in this area is total devastation. A lot of people were stuck in homes. We've been riding around searching neighborhoods, pulling people to higher ground and getting to shelters.
They brought hope to the business owners who had lost everything, families that had been torn apart, into a region whose future seemed so dark.
Just come back and you start cleaning up. We're waiting for equipment to come in. The bridge is damaged out there. So they're gonna barge some equipment to us over here so that we can start repairing our damages and scooping everything up and starting over again. But Sandlot will be back in business.
Oh, we'll be back. And we'll build it up to 2005, you know, for the boats they got now and the people they got now.
We'll have a new marina and a new pavilion. We'll be up in business, be ready to go again to serve the people.
The work to restore our coast started almost immediately. Everyone knew that it was a great hill to climb. But resiliency is something that the people of this region know all too well. And rebuilding our lives was not a question, it was a demand. A demand only to be halted by another disaster in Hurricane Rita. Rita picked on the areas that Katrina missed. And within 1 month, the entire Louisiana coast had been deemed a disaster area. But we kept our sights on recovering. 5 short years later, the largest accidental marine oil spill in history plagued our coast with the explosion of the BP Deepwater Horizon offshore platform. The past decade of our state's history has seen its greatest disasters and greatest recovery efforts on record.
This is no comparison. I mean, we were able to fly after Hurricane Andrew, and deer surprisingly were able to do well in not major loss. But this is, I mean, this is something entirely different. This was catastrophic.
But Louisianians proved to be a tenacious bunch. Almost any place you visit on the coast today has taken the punches it was given and bounced back to be better than ever. Our state's fisheries and wildlife are thriving. Marinas and businesses in coastal towns are booming with commerce. Many of our state's public officials, biologists, enforcement agents, and legislators are demonstrating a strong desire to restore and maintain our state back to the beauty we know and love.
We always talk about storms and devastation, things like that, but you know, we hope we can do a stretch like from Camille and Betsy, give us 25, 30 years, whatever, but it could happen, you know, next year, this year, whatever. But it's something we really don't strive on. It's just, you know, it's possibilities there, but you know, people down in the bayou or just in Louisiana in general dealing with things like this is just part of how you raise and your mindset. So it's gonna happen, but we'll rebuild.
The 10-year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina may remind many of the hard times and the uncertainty that surrounds such a catastrophic event. But remember that as a people, we must not dwell on what happened, yet relish in how we can recover and continue to make our home a paradise, Louisiana.
Who doesn't want to save money on fuel? Now, Shell and the Fuel Rewards Network are putting you in control of how much you pay for fuel. Simply buy whatever's on your shopping list. Clothes, groceries, even dinner out. And earn cents per gallon savings at participating retailers nationwide. Now, fuel prices are in your hands. So why wait? Sign up at fuelrewards.com today and turn shopping power into saving power.
Visit